What's up guys, Mr. Bazy here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a commentary that kind of discusses why I think the battle rifle, after all of these years, is still the best starting weapon in both matchmaking and competitive. So before I start here, I want to first extinguish or kind of elaborate on that statement a little bit. I want to extinguish the negativity that might be surrounding that statement. So essentially what I mean by that is I don't not like the DMR and I don't not like the light rifle. They're both fantastic weapons, and to be perfectly honest, I enjoy using them from time to time. But in terms of balancing and in terms of what is considered more evened out in terms of the playing field or the battlefield that is Halo, I really do believe that the battle rifle is a better starting weapon. Okay, it's definitely not a better weapon in terms of the overall aspects of it, but in terms of a better starting weapon, I do believe so. And this is why, right? So the battle rifle has, or it excels at close to mid-range. Specifically close range is really where it really shines. That's where it reigns supreme. You don't have to worry about how many bullets it takes or how many bullets you're hitting them with in terms of the rounds in each burst and all that. You don't have to worry about it that much because generally speaking, when you shoot someone up close, you're going to be hitting every single round in the burst anyway, unless you're just whipping it back and forth, but that's a different strategy that we won't elaborate on. So that's essentially what I mean, right? So the DMR and the light rifle, in terms of precision rifles, we'll just keep it very concealed and around those these three particular weapons. Precision rifles, DMR and light rifle, don't really have a limiting range factor, right? They can engage at close range, even though that's not necessarily their strong suit, and they can engage at mid to long range, which arguably is their strong suit, specifically long range. So there's really no limiting factor, which, that I wouldn't say takes some skill away from fighting. It definitely just, clears up limitations in terms of competitive, which in itself is a good thing, but it might not be the best thing in terms of the skill set or in terms of the skill it takes to play Halo, and it might not be the best for the viewing experience. In terms of playing the game, it might make it a little bit, more easy on the player because they don't have to worry about what range they're at. They can always engage knowing that they will be doing the full amount of damage as long as they hit one bullet, right? But I don't really think that's the best in terms of competitive or in terms of balancing, right? So when it comes to, the battle rifle, you have to really be conscious of what battles you want to engage in or what, situations you want to actually put yourself out in there for. Because, if you're close up, of course, you'll engage them. If you're, mid-range, you'll engage them, or you'll at least be a supportive person in engaging, with another teammate. But at long range, it's very, situational whether you plan to engage. Do you want to conceal your position? Do you want to reveal your position to that enemy team member? Do you want to put a couple rounds into the person as they're going for a power weapon from long range? But the whole point of it is you cannot, consistently, at least not without very, very, significant practice behind the battle rifle, be able to consistently put full ticks of damage into people to the point where you can, four-shot them at extreme distances like you can with, well, not four-shot, but five-shot with, either the DMR or four-shot or I believe three-shot now with the light rifle, scoped in. They're, also with the light rifle and DMR, their red reticle range is significantly longer. So you're going to have a little bit better aim assist long range, which again, again adds to that whole, there's not really a limiting range. Like I said, the DMR and the light rifle are probably better in a lot of aspects to the BR because the BR doesn't really have anything that it brings to the table. It brings, it does take a little bit more practice to master the BR because of the fact that you have to really make sure you hit every single bullet in a burst for it to count as a full tick of damage, whereas the other ones you do not. Okay, but again, that's both good and bad. But in terms of when you start off, it's at least in my mind, in terms of the competitiveness and balancing the game, kind of in a good way, would be so that players aren't able to engage, consistently and adequately at long range right off the bat. You know what I mean? That's why, even though I don't personally like it, assault rifle starts is a decent implementation. Maybe not the most competitive implementation or competitive choice for a starting weapon, which is again why I choose the BR, but it is a good implementation because it forces players to first kind of, really battle it out before they can kind of get the weapons they want or, attain better weapons than the starting weapon itself. And admittedly, the assault rifle isn't that bad, especially in Halo 5. I personally feel, on a side note, that the assault rifle in Halo 5 is probably one of the more fun assault rifles that I've ever used in a Halo game. But in terms of, I'm not really happy until I'm able to pick up one of those other 3 weapons. Or a power weapon, of course. So, starting off with a battle rifle is a good balance, in my opinion. It really is. And you guys can feel free to comment down below what you think, and try to keep it logical. Don't just because you like a weapon, don't say that it's better this way. Really provide some reasoning as to why. And there is one reason that I know, one counter argument that I can, blatantly see that's here, is that when you're playing competitive, you don't really want any limitations. You want it to be all about the skill, which is why in Call of Duty, when, if you guys have played Advanced Warfare, let's branch out a little bit here. If you guys have ever played Advanced Warfare, the BAL-27 was basically the exclusive gun that was used because it was extremely good right off the bat. Now, I haven't played Call of Duty in a little bit, but back when it first came out, the BAL was the shit, right? So I personally really liked that every single person was using the BAL because people were saying that, oh, the BAL, man, everyone's using it. It's really, it's a skill barrier because everyone's using the BAL. And I was thinking to myself, well, really, it's not. Because if you think about games in the past, like Halo, they've used the BR exclusively. Some maps have been straight up battle rifle battles, like Amplified, I believe, in Halo 3. Some of the old Halo 3 competitive maps have been straight up battle rifle battles. So when it comes to that, you're really not limiting the skill. You're just kind of, you're weeding out the people that aren't as good as the others, because when it comes down to everyone's got the same equipment, everyone's got the same gun, what it's then about is who's really better. If everyone's got the same stuff, the only way you're going to decide who's better is who's got better teamwork, and 2, who's got better gun skill, all that kind of stuff, So that's what it really comes down to. So in that respect, yes, the DMR starting would really kind of present that scenario where, there wouldn't be any limiting factors. It would be down to the player's skill level. That's what would happen if the DMR was the starting weapon. Another thing that would happen is that the games would be much more fast-paced because of the DMR's time to kill being slightly faster than the battle rifle. And also, I think, and this is the negative side, is it would really, especially in Team Slayer games, it would really present some very standoffish kind of situations or environments in Team Slayer games because, players would be very confident with their long-range fights. We wouldn't see that many close-up, or at least not as many as before, close-up gun battles, and Team Slayer games would take a lot longer than they used to. But that's just my theory. I really can't speculate any more than that. But that is why I think the battle rifle is better, because it forces players to get into situations that are a little bit more rough and tumble. It forces them to really consider, do they want to engage the player at that range? And it forces them to consider, what situations are they probably going to engage at? Are they a support player? Are they, an actual main slayer? Are they comfortable with getting up in their face? Or are they more comfortable with sitting back, maybe being a mid-range to long-range support player, just putting shots in, calling people out, things like that? When you have a situation where everyone uses the DMR, everybody can pretty much do everything, and you're not really put into a player role, which is both good and bad. You know what I mean? It's both good and bad because it also depends on the person, of course, whether they're comfortable doing that role. But you guys kind of get what I'm saying here. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope that you kind of understand what I was trying to talk about. I know it was a little bit confusing, but I hope you were able to take away kind of the meaning behind it and what I meant. But feel free to drop down in the comments what you think about this, whether you have a disagreement or whatever. Again, try to keep it logical here. I don't want you to just say, no, because I like the DMR better or whatever. Really present some scenarios that would benefit from those kind of things, but also take into consideration, what I've said, and try to really provide a counter argument, because it's always interesting to hear what you guys have to say, and it would be cool to see the different ideas being thrown around. So that would be awesome. Rate the video what you think it deserved, and if you'd like to become a Sage in Training, make sure you subscribe today. This has been Mr. Basie, your favorite Sage, and I'll see you in the next video.